Yeah. Yeah. I know they mad for no reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Gotta move fast for a reason. I'm holding on to change my life. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Oh, 700K, I'm selling a Bitcoin. Haters mad, but they listen to this one. More profit coming to my direction. Yeah, you know me, I don't need a mention. I got the remedy, ooh, yeah. They don't just follow me, ooh, yeah. You say allegedly, ooh, yeah. You would subscribe to me, ooh, yeah. Staring at chart, drawing a line. Make a decision, you out of time. Huddling, huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. Huddling, huddling. I'm staring at charts until I retire. Yeah. See on stage. On-chain revolution. Youngest. Phone.
Welcome back to On-Chain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live from the On-Chain Hour, and right now we got Bitcoin sitting at 93,500. We did get some inflation data today that came in kind of what everyone was expecting, a little lower on the year-to-year, 2.6 now, which is, I think, a W. It's a W for Powell for sure. I mean, getting inflation down to 2.6 is huge because obviously their target is 2. I think their target now should be 2.5. I think we live in a different post-COVID era than we've ever done. So 2.6 is fair, you know. We are still pretty sure we're not getting a rate cut. Trump comes out and just yells at Powell, says he's crooked or incompetent and all this crazy stuff. But markets are looking good. We are seeing the S&P at an all-time high, the Dow Jones at an all-time high, the NASDAQ at an all-time high, gold at an all-time high, silver at an all-time high. Bitcoin still not nowhere near an all-time high, about 30% away from an all-time high to be exact. Some of these altcoins are, 500% away from their all-time high. So we got a lot of room to make up here in crypto. We have a lot of things that could really go right for us this year, right? The markets do feel like they want to keep going up in the TradFi world, right? And that usually translates to what's happening in crypto. So as long as TradFi keeps going up, I think we're okay. That's what some crypto economists are saying right now. They're basically saying, hey, if TradFi takes a dip here, because they're all-time highs, normally what happens, they get up their all-time high and they do dip back down. And they're saying that could bring Bitcoin and crypto down. I actually think the opposite. I do think that a lot of money is going to flow into assets that haven't moved yet. That's what TradFi does, right? They take their money from assets that run and they put it in assets that haven't moved yet, and that is crypto. And I do think that within the next, probably 6 to 8 weeks, we are going to see a resurgence. Maybe not back to all-time highs for Bitcoin, but maybe close. Maybe we get up to 115, 120 going into February, March, or maybe mid-March, early February, going into that April and May. I do think we're going to get some resurgence, but now, my mindset is really to the end of this year. I think, November, December of this year is going to be very bullish. I know we said that last year, but 1010 caused a lot of mayhem, and that mayhem has to work its way out of the market, and that takes time. I do think we got pushed back a year in a lot of different ways, right? The way Raul speaks of it, Raul Powell, and, what is happening just in, the last 3 months with 1010. So a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about today, too. We got former mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. He launched a coin yesterday. Did he rug it or did he just make a huge mistake? I don't know. We're going to talk about that. Monero is one of the hottest coins right now. It's up a ton. But then you got something like Dash that's up 60% in the last 24 hours. We're going to get into privacy and a whole lot more. I'm excited for this one. So without further ado, I'm bringing my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Staying up late, working on stuff. But I'm feeling pretty good. Didn't really like that whole situation with Eric Adams, though. I feel like we constantly are getting black eyes for our space, but some things that are changing that are going to be better for the future, I think, of our space. We're going to get into some of that with the stocks that are getting tokenized, as well as looking at that 10-10 situation, and maybe during the price action, and comparing that possibly to COVID, right? Because on the weekly chart, there's possible similarities there, and we want it to be comparable, right? We want it to be similar, because after that COVID dip, that dip below the 50-day SMA on the weekly chart, we did see that rise up afterwards. So we'll get into that during price action. I'm excited to talk about that. Other than that, we just kind of keep trucking forward, right? Looking at the projects that are building strong in the space, and you always just keep moving forward. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, 100%. I watched a few Benjamin Cohen videos last night, and he's basically saying that, obviously he believes 2025 was 2019, and this year he's very similar to 2020. If that's the case, what happened in 2020, was the COVID crash, right? But we had a lot of liquidity. This time around, we're potentially going to be getting a new Fed chair, which could also bring tons of liquidity into the market, especially if they drop rates to 1.5%, 2%. It's kind of Trump's range for this year. So we might actually get a very similar year to 2020. And if that's the case, remember 2020 had DeFi summer. So we could actually have a bullish summer and potentially Bitcoin all-time high in December. We might actually have to wait till December high if this continues. But then 2027 is going to be a blow off top style year for crypto, and that's kind of what he's saying, right? He's really comparing it to the monetary policy, to everything that's happened in 2019 to 2020, and that's kind of what he's getting here. And it does make sense. It really does, potentially.
Yeah, it just feels like the goalposts keep getting moved a little bit further back in terms of time frame. But yeah, I think you have a lot of solid points there. One difference between COVID and 1010 was, COVID was a forced liquidity push in from the governments, the world governments, by the way, too, right? Like just pushing liquidity into their societies and stuff. We didn't have that in 1010, but the similarity is in our space, at least with the similar crashes. And then 2020, if we do get a year like that, it's going to be very interesting, because that means that we might have another crash, and then push up towards the end of the year, like you said. Either way, we're not leaving. We're not going anywhere. Obviously, we're still here. Many have left, but we haven't.
Yeah, for sure. And right now the path of most pain is up, because a lot of people, like, I was listening to a bunch of crypto guys yesterday. A lot of them are saying, "Oh, I had to sell this position. I had to sell this position." So honestly, dude, the path of most pain is forward. But we got a lot of amazing comments in here already. We got my guy, Spindrift Crypto. Piers Net is here. Appreciate you, my friend. Glass Hopper. We've got a question from OCM Fever. He says, if Venezuela really held 50 to 60 billion in Bitcoin, and if the US really seized it, is Bitcoin's coffin now? Because if BTC can be seized by states, what's it for beyond a cap supply? So you can only seize someone's Bitcoin if they allow you to. That's one thing you have to understand. Like Ross Ulbricht back with Silk Road, he, turned over the Bitcoin, right? There's always been turning over. It doesn't matter if you have gold locked in the basement, nobody's ever going to find it, but you're like, you know what? I'm just going to turn it over, right? So that's the difference. If you're on an exchange, that's another difference. Any Bitcoin, any asset can be seized from an exchange, right? So it really depends on where Venezuela had it. And there is no indication that we just said, we're taking your hardware wallet and we're going to hack it open. Like, that didn't happen. So your theory here is a little off, right?
Well, not just that. I mean, the state has, gotten Bitcoin from people they've charged before. That the Bitcoin has to be relatable in some way, in my opinion, to like the offense or whatever, right? They're gonna tie it somehow. They're gonna relate it to it. And with Ross, it was the fact that that was an easy one, right? Silk Road was you paid with Bitcoin on there. And then for Venezuela, the charges that they're going to get, for what they're saying is drug trafficking, they're going to correlate that to, receiving payment with Bitcoin somehow, I'm sure. And that's their approach. So it's not the first time that the state has done that. So I don't think so. I don't think it changes that perception or outlook of Bitcoin's future.
It still has to be turned over. Like, even
Yeah,
if they
but
come
still, I
and
mean,
arrest me and I have
they
Bitcoin
still,
in a hardware wallet, I
they,
still have to physically turn it over to them,
but I think
or I can just sit in jail with it.
I think his point is the fact that the government's trying to seize it. This is not the first time.
But they still have to turn it over. So his argument here is that is Bitcoin found now in the coffin here because it can be a seized asset, but it still has to be turned over. Like, if you don't want to turn it over, you can say, I'm gonna sit in jail. I'm not going to turn this over to you at all. If Venezuela was like, no, we're not giving it to you, there's nothing the US can do. They can't be like,
but we
you know
have
what I mean?
had
They can't just go into a building and take their Bitcoin. It's not possible.
But we've had that situation where they did seize it and they got it. So my point is
They
that
seized it because it got turned over.
I know,
they didn't hack someone's wallet.
But my point is that we've been in a situation like that before, and it didn't affect it. You know what I mean? It didn't affect it. It didn't affect the outlook of Bitcoin. So no, we have data. We have situations that's happened before like this.
Yeah, I think his point though is that,
but I mean, but his brain works. He knows that you can't just mentally just be like, okay, through osmosis take the Bitcoin. He knows that people have to give it up. But his point, he's saying that if the US can strong arm basically people into giving up their Bitcoin, is it gonna? And I say no, because we've seen it happen. They've strong armed people before.
Yeah, it's a people thing. It's not a Bitcoin thing, right? I think that's my point there. But we'll move along. SEC quietly greenlights tokenized stocks. Real securities going on chain changes everything. So the SEC just gave DTC a green light to pilot tokenized versions of mainstream securities, including U.S. Treasuries, inside the U.S. market plumbing. It accelerates the real-world asset tokenization narrative. If DTC can token wrap treasuries and large-cap securities, the market can start building, lending, repo, collateral mobility. So, and the DTC, if anyone doesn't know, is a registered clearing agency under Section 17A of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934. Basically, a centralized security area that they're able to come in and, basically give clarity on how these assets can be sold, and they can actually work through them. You can actually go to them to buy some of this stuff. So they're going to be coming on chain here. This is something from December 11th, but it's finally looking like the SEC has gave it full clarity and it can start trading immediately.
Yeah, so I looked into this with the AI a bit just to kind of break it down, and DTC, like you just explained, they track all the most important assets, financial assets, stocks and bonds, right? And when someone tries to sell, for example, Jerome Powell was interviewed, I think yesterday or the day before, and they were talking about his salary, which I think was like 130,000 or 160,000. And I was like, no way, he just lives off of that. But they asked him, they were like, if you have to go beyond your salary and you have to sell any of your assets, you have to get that approved, right? And he said, yeah. So this is what I think that is kind of would be like, that class of, tracking, these important figures that, could be looked at as, manipulation and stuff like that. So, what the DTC gets now is the green light to be able to tokenize ownership of stocks. And so now you can actually own your Apple in a hardware wallet eventually, right? Instead of just going through a brokerage, which at the end of the day, they technically, from a legal standpoint, own the stock. You just are trading it on your account that you own through their platform. And so this changes that. And I think it makes stocks more real. You know what I mean? In something that you can give even more value to them in the future. I don't know. That's my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah. So what DTC, I mean, what they're basically going to do here is they're going to custody these stocks and these bonds for you, and they're going to tokenize them themselves and then actually put them on their marketplace for you to come buy them. So this is the first time that they've ever been allowed to actually say, hey, everything you're holding, if you want, you can vault it and tokenize it. But the question is, a lot of this stuff's going to be very similar to paper gold when people talk about paper gold, right? Now we're going to get paper stocks. So I'm a little worried about that in the sense of manipulation, because, you know, when you're shorting and stuff like that, I mean, there's already huge windows. And I mean, the GameStop situation, right? It was heavily shorted to the point where, you know, it was bullshit. Like there wasn't enough to short the amount that was being short. And I'm a little worried about the stuff being taken advantage of in the early days here. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But that's how you get laws in place. So I think there's gonna be a lot of friction in the beginning. A lot of people that are just going to get hands off, and the people that do get into, you're gonna see them try to break stuff in the early days, which could cause mayhem for not just crypto but the stock market as well.
Yeah, so for the stock market and for these huge hedge funds and that do like 3 different things that are probably you know, conflict of interest, by the way, like market maker and broker and such, right? Like they probably don't love this, especially if this is going to be a, you know, a mandatory thing eventually to where each stock is going to be backed by, you know, tokenization, because then you can really, the public can really educate themselves and say, okay, how do they, you know, how do options work? How do, you know, these dark pools, how are they doing this with these dark pools? How are they getting, you know, lending to other, you know, brokerages and all these things to be able to, because there's not, the supply is already out there, you know.
Yeah.
And so they're going to figure out a way, and I think it will probably be more of the public's responsibility to try to go out and learn all that stuff. But if there is, you know, shady stuff happening there, I think there's a lot of people that are in our space that are good at, you know, blockchain investigation stuff. So I wonder how TradFi is going to approach this, right? Because, you know, this changes if it becomes a mandatory thing, which I don't think it will, because they're giving them the option of, you know, doing the pilot first of all, and they're probably gonna get pressured one way or the other, I would imagine, by some of these huge institutions.
Yeah, I think this is going to take a lot of years to get adoption. I think it starts off as something, you know, mainly crypto guys, right? Your crypto guys who do stocks, the Tom Lees of the world and stuff like that. I don't think crypto stocks and stuff really get adoption. I mean, from us, of course, we're going to use them, but from, you know, normal people, I just don't think so. I don't think it'll ever be mandatory because of the fact of you have to have a custodian, you have to have someone holding in these vaults and stuff like that. So unless everyone comes on board, I just can't say. I don't really feel like this narrative is going to be that big in our space. I think it's going to take 4, 5, 6 years to get there.
Well, I feel like it's not something that you can half-ass though. You know what I mean? You like, you have to go all in or you don't, because then, you know, the supply, the understanding of like the tokenized supply and how it correlates with each stock and which one's legitimate. You've seen stuff like on Solana with, I think it was StockX or X stock or whatever. Like, what is going to be the official, you know, SEC approved tokenized version of, you know, token of each stock? I think that's important, because it's going to be very you know, correlate directly with the supply of the stocks.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine to have, you know, P Tesla, D Tesla and stuff like that, because what you can do is you can lock them in a pool together and they can be traded. So we basically, when you're locking them in the pool together, they're able to easily go from back and forth as long as they, you know, you get that blue check mark from the place that you're buying it from. So I don't think that's a big deal. But it's, you all you really need to do is have a liquidity pool. So if you tokenize Tesla, for instance, you just got to put up USDC against it. I don't think it's any problem. And then have a clear indication of, hey, this got the blue check mark. This is the real Tesla, even if it's P Tesla, K Tesla, L Tesla, right? I don't think it really matters, because you can just put P Tesla and L Tesla together, and then they're tradable against each other. So anybody going from one to the other, it's no big deal.
The problem is if one of them becomes illiquid, right, and then they lose the value because, you know, the price is going to be connected to the oracle of whatever.
Well, it'll never become illiquid because you have arbitrage. Because as long as it's 1-to-1, it doesn't matter. You'll always have someone come into the market and buy it up and add liquidity back.
I mean, you could say that with stable coins, right? Whenever they fall below peg, you know, and people do buy up the ones that are strong. But the ones that sometimes aren't are, you know, illiquid because it was someone that was an you know, entity that probably shouldn't have started a stable coin, but it did get traction. We saw that in 2021 and 2022. And so, you know, that kind of scenario might not be great, right? But
as
I
long as
mean,
it's 1-to-1, that's the problem what you're saying. You're saying so some of these stable coins stuff that they go under, they weren't 1-to-1.
yeah,
And if
some
we
of
have
them
the
were
Clarity Act
algorithmic.
and we have the Genius Act now, right? Which is basically the Stablecoin Act, where if you don't, your company's going down regardless, and you're gonna be forced, you're gonna get lawsuit, and you're gonna be forced to pay out those stock shares anyway. So I just don't think. I mean, TradFi is a different beast. You're not going to be able to get away with that stuff. And to get that blue check mark, I think you're going to have to go through a lot of paperwork and stuff like that. So I disagree.
It's a different game for sure.
Yeah, it's a different game. I think, and that's the thing too. If I see an illiquid Tesla and it's like $100 cheaper, I'm like, holy shit. And then if it's 1-to-1 and I can just withdraw it back to E-Trade or wherever, then I'm good to go. I just made $100 for free. And you're going to see a lot of arbitrage bots, sitting there just waiting for that type of situation. For
Courtney
sure,
Johnson.
he said the interest rates for stocks is going to bring people over. That's the thing, dude, because if you can lock up like Apple and Tesla into a liquidity pool and you can earn, 3, 4,
That'll be new
5%
to
on that,
them. That's gonna be new than that's, but even more so, I think you need more established like go-tos for tokens for that, right? Like I get it, like yeah, sure, people can start up P Tesla, K Tesla, but for me, if I'm like a TradFi guy and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, this is new, this is not what's it called? It slips my mind whenever you get the earnings share or whatever in TradFi. Anyways, I'm talking about. Yeah, dividend. It's not dividends. It's you're actually earning because this is new kind of innovative for them technology where you can put a pool together, and but I do want to have the official or like the most official token that I can trust the most to do that with. That's where I think a lot of them will probably their minds will be. People in crypto though, I think they will be like, well, which one has like higher APR or whatever right away.
Yeah. Again, you're gonna have to pass the Genius Act, right? There's rules in place already for that, so you're not gonna get the blue check mark. So it doesn't matter, right? So to me, I don't think it matters. But I would love, imagine people be able to earn just staking your Tesla because they're gonna take your Tesla and then convert it to P Tesla and L Tesla and put it in a liquidity pool, and then you're earning potentially off your Tesla with no risk involved because it's JP Morgan Tesla and it's E-Trade Tesla, right? So you're like, oh wow, so I know these companies, and if anything does happen, I can sue these companies, so I'm not worried about it, and I can earn yield for just holding Tesla because they're going to take it for me and they're going to put it in the two pools. I don't got to worry about it. There's going to be products that come for you to simplify single-sided staking, right? Because they're going to do all the hard work for you in the back end and then give you 2-3% while they earn the other 2%. So. All right. Let's kind of get into the crypto price action and crypto bubbles. Kind of excited for this price action here. We are seeing 93.2. I'm curious to your opinion on what happens next year.
Yeah, for sure. We are about to get into that. And myself, we're going to get to your comment because I definitely want to address that because that needs to happen more for sure. But before we get into the price action, guys, help us out on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us. Subscribe to the channel. All that great stuff that helps us. We appreciate you guys. It does truly help. And thank you guys so much for doing that. Turn your notifications on YouTube so you know when we go live. On X, let's share the space. Let's get as many people in here as possible. And then what's up to the Abstract, the Pump Streams, the Zora crews out there. We appreciate all you guys, as well as Rumble. Make sure you guys download your wallet over there as well. They're getting integrated with Web3 even more. And so shout out to all you guys, Twitch and Spotify as well. Let's get some price action here. Definitely looking a bit froggy, right? Looks like Bitcoin wants to jump here a bit. And you can see on the hour chart that things are aligned very, very well. I mean, everything's matching up here. You see the MACD looks really strong. The fast line looks like it, I would like it to point a little bit more to the upside, but hey, look, this extension to the, increased strength that you see here on the MACD looks really good. We're at 93,300 right now. So the big thing today, I would say, would be, can we finally break above this area right here, right? I mean, not that area. I would say a little bit higher here. I would say probably around here, right? So this is like 90, almost 97, 95, right? So 94.7 is kind of that area where these wicks hit, and we've been rejected here a little. It didn't quite get there, but here we got rejected, came down sideways. We got rejected, came down. Higher low though, higher low. So pay attention to that, because a lot of times higher low means higher high. So let's see if we can get that in the next 2 to 4 hours. That would be, you know, a really good sign if we can break above 95 to 96K, because we haven't been able to do that. You know, we haven't been in those prices since November 7th, 15th, 14th, right, in this area here. So it's been a long time, and it doesn't even seem like that, which is crazy. But you know, that would be a good sign if we could do that. So pay attention to that today. Stochastics looks great too. We just got to over bot territory. We'll probably hang out here for a bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to possibly cracking 94 today, but you know, let's see what happens in the next 2 hours, because I think it's going to really give us some indication if it's going to attempt that even again. But higher low is a good sign, and it looks like it wants to attempt a higher high. So that's what I'm seeing for the next 2 to 4 hours. Going to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart looks great as well for Bitcoin. The extension is here. Very similar setup to the 1 hour. So, you know, it's really just following, you know, it's giving conviction to the 1 hour, what we just went over there. So again, need to see if we can, you know, try to crack at this the ceiling that we haven't been able to get above here, right? And then stochastics looks great for 4 hour. MACD looks great for 4 hours. So could be a good next 2 days if this really plays out today the way I think it can. And then the daily looks good. We have an extension here. It looks like it wants to extend more, but I do want to see us get to this 80-point mark, right? So that might take the next 2 days for us to get back up here, right? Or maybe like tomorrow we could get close to this area and then maybe hang out up here again. But this could play into the thesis of, you know, towards the end of the month is when that pullback will happen. So we would experience getting to 96, 97, maybe, you know, say hello to the area of close to 100, and then maybe towards the end of the month see that peel back before we go into February. But let's just kind of play it day by day. That's been my motto for sure. But yeah, so that's the daily for Bitcoin there. I wanted to take a look here at this weekly chart that I used to hit on a lot. And it was because the thing that really scared me last year towards the end was getting below the 50 SMA right here, because almost every single time that we break down on the weekly chart below this is a start to a bear market, right? Now, the kind of situation that sticks out is that 1010 was definitely a part of what caused us to break down here. So that makes me think even further, and I can pull back. When was there like an anomaly situation where we broke down below the 50 SMA on the weekly chart where it wasn't the start of a bear market? And that was COVID. So COVID right here broke down in 2020 below the 50 SMA, and then it worked its way back up. Right. And then we know what happened after that. We started to see these, you know, high highs in spring of 2021 and of fall of 2021. Right. The double top, the manipulated double top here, but it was bull market time. Right. But then you go back here in 2018 where like it went down. That's the start of the bear market. So this is one of the reasons why I was nervous. And then also back in 2022 broke down below the 50 SMA. And that was the start of another bear market. So I think we got to pay pretty close attention to this, or at least if you believe in data from cyclical data forming patterns here, which, you know, a lot of people have kind of thrown that out the window. But is this more similar to, hey, look, this event caused this to break down below? 1010 definitely was a main reason. You can see, you know, it like started before that, but it continued down. We know that Q4 was horrible because of that 1010 effect. And now do we rise above it, like, you know, coming out this way? We're going to find out, right? If maybe it doesn't align exactly that way, maybe it's a little bit prolonged, and then it's more like towards the end of this year, like you mentioned, Benjamin Cohen's kind of saying, you know, it gets bullish towards the end of this year, and then 2027, we're going to find out. But this is something to keep your eye on, because if this does play out this way and it bounced back above and it does kind of give us that similar COVID situation, then we could have a little bit of that, you know, cycle energy back, and we'll see what happens for the rest of this year. So something I'm looking at there. Any thoughts from your side about that? This is obviously kind of, you know, finding similarities and kind of hoping that they play out similarly too as well.
I mean, it looks like we have a lot more pain to go. Honestly, I mean, it looks like we have to, even if we get a V-shaped recovery like we did with COVID, I think we have, a long way to go down. I think we could potentially hit that
It went
70K.
sideways here too. It went from
Yeah.
so May and then October. Well, it jumped up here in July of 2020. So, summer really is when it bounced back there in 2020. But yeah, so we'll see how this plays out. But that is Bitcoin, in that weekly scenario. But let's take a look at ETH really quick before we get into the alts. ETH on the hour looking strong, The stochastics does look like it might want to pull back a little bit here. You're seeing 3170 in this range, not as intense, I don't think, as Bitcoin just yet. You see the MACD looking really good too. So probably waiting to see Bitcoin's move. Does it decide it wants to break above that resistance level of almost 95,000? If it does, then probably expect ETH to kind of fast track as well once that happens, because then the decision's been made at that point. So hour looks good for the setup for ETH. 4 hour looks great as well. I mean, very similar situations. You almost have this cup and handle on that 4 hour that looks like it played out here. And then you can go to the daily. The daily is going to give us that extension as well, like similar to Bitcoin. So really kind of waiting to see what happens, with that resistance level. Does Bitcoin attempt to break through that? If so, then ETH will follow suit. So that's where we are with Bitcoin, Ethereum, the two strongest blue chips in our space. And we'll see, how the alt market's doing now. In the top 100, you got Story Protocol at 42% pull up. So everything's responding pretty well to, what we're seeing with the price action. You got Dash with Privacy Protocol up 45%. So these are the two big winners in the top 100. Some other winners that look pretty strong. You got ICP. Shout out ICP and their ecosystem that builds in the Bitcoin ecosystem as well. Up 14% for ICP. XMR, another privacy, up 14% here. Everything else on average around 4 to 6, close to 10% if it's, a little bit stronger there. But, everything sticking out in terms of, or everything that is in the top 100 looks like it's, looking strong. It's a strong response. The stuff that does stick out, that pulled back, you see Lit Protocol pulling back almost 9%. Had some good run up already, right? For the past like 2 weeks, whenever everything else was kind of like, eh. So it makes sense that it's pulled back a little bit when everything else is pulling up. It's down 8.5%. MakerDAO down 13% here. Zcash, weird. It's one of the only privacies that isn't green right now, and it's down 3.2%. And then you got virtuals down 2.2% and meme core down 2.6%. Midnight pulling back 3.4% as well. And then let's go to the top 200. So 100 through 200. Let's take a look here. Melania. Wow. Interesting. Who's pumping that? It's up 19% here. Yeah, this was voted, by the way, #1 worst token of 2025. So just keep that in mind. And then you are seeing DCR up almost 20% here. And this also in the top 100 to 200, we're seeing, on an average of 4 to 6% pull up. Fartcoin pulling up 5.3%. Always a good day when Fartcoin is green. The B meme coin on BSCs pulled back 16%. You're seeing Frax pulling back 8.1%. Pippin has enjoyed some green days last week, so it is pulling back a little bit today at pulling back at 3.8% here. And everything else, like I mentioned, 4 to 6% in the top 100 to 200 here. So that is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alt market for y'all.
Yeah, I think privacy, man, it still has ways to go. I mean, you're seeing Zcash, who was the leader, and some of the other ones where the laggards, the laggards are actually catching up, especially with Dash and XMR, and you're seeing some of these other ones as too, like ZK. Privacy does look like it's still very, very strong. It seems like it's the strongest sector right now. You are seeing a lot of the other stuff kind of pop up too. So I'm curious, especially with going on with IP, it's 2 days in a row now, and I'm just hearing nothing but, obviously, that's another Asian or East, company.
Protocol.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, why, like, some of these Western media companies don't cover what's happening unless it's just money flowing in and there is no actual news. I got to look into that because I looked into it yesterday when it was up and I didn't see anything. So I have to definitely have to do more due diligence into why IP is going up like that. But we will see. We'll see. Get another comment here. We can answer myself's question. He says, why don't high sub crypto KOLs call out the corruption more often? Like who? Like Thread
I think he
Guy?
said,
Like Ansem?
yeah, probably Thread Guy, probably.
He
Well,
does though. I mean, on the
on
show.
crypto Twitter, like probably don't expect that. Just the fact that, I mean, it's it's crypto Twitter, right? It's crypto Twitter. A lot of the high sub people on crypto Twitter, um, I don't know. Zach XBT used to. I don't know.
Yeah. It's really like Jim Cramer, right? He doesn't talk negative about any company that he can potentially get paid from. Right. So it's like it's the same thing. These KOLs don't want to burn bridges on a lot of this stuff, especially when they just don't want to get involved. I mean, it's a lot easier to kind of turn the other cheek and then just kind of, not say anything.
But
But Thread Guy does, but he just saves it for his show.
yeah, I do. Today, I did see a lot of people trash Eric Adams on crypto Twitter, though. Ash Crypto did. There was multiple people, and it's almost kind of like the people that they probably participated too and got burnt a little bit, right? So it's like they're
Yeah.
upset as well. I do think that needs to happen more, and I think the situation with Eric Adams, that stuff's got to stop. There's got to be more regulation towards that and more consequence, because it's just it's a black eye for our space.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit for sure. Let's kind of get into some U.S. December inflation. So year over year, 2.7. U.S. December adjusted core CPI 2.6. So year over year, 2.6. So inflation is officially in at 2.6 right now. I have a really, really awesome chart that kind of shows the job that Jerome Powell did, right? So he did cause this. Obviously, we do know that's 2020, when inflation just went absolutely crazy, up to 9% by the end of 2022, and then I think he's done a really good job since that point. He maybe some people come in and say, hey, he was just too late with this, and I agree with that. He had a terrible time, but then COVID was a tough part, right? A lot of people were home. There was a lot of things that are happening when it comes to people taking loans at their mortgage. Everyone felt like they had a lot of money. We had these stimulus checks. I think we had more money than any time ever in the U.S. economy, and you saw that from stocks, you saw that from crypto and everything else. But I think he's done a great job getting it down from 9% down to 2.6, and not many people really talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are the numbers, right? Like it's been curved definitely down in the two point whatever range. I've seen some takes on Jay Powell, though, going back to when he started, that like he's made a lot of missteps. Whether he stopped tightening before too early. He's printed too much in different in bad situations and didn't print when he should have. And so, I think you can probably critique anybody, though, right? And so that's something that I saw. I definitely want to dig deeper into those exact situations, because it was a TikTok video that I saw, but he did specify, the years and stuff, to where he did have some pretty big missteps. But in terms of inflation, it did. He didn't get to 2%, which I think that was never. Like, I think most people realize that wasn't attainable to actually hit 2%. So in terms of that, like on paper, yeah, I mean, he did a good job with it.
Yeah, I would love to watch that video, because like I've kind of like looked into all of his stuff, and he did a really good job. Yeah, I remember Trump appointed him in 2016, right? 2017.
Yeah,
And
but
then
that's when he didn't know anything.
Yeah, but then he came in, and he had inflation around 2.2%. Like 2019 was a pretty strong year for him. I think he did a good job he stopped tightening in December, and then we had the COVID crash, so he immediately had to go into 2020 anomaly year in March. Right, there's nothing he could have done. He was being dictated by how people were home, people needed money. So, but he going not doing quantitative tightening until June of 2022. I think that was his only misstep there in that sense. So it's kind of like he was too late. And is he too late again? I think that's the question. But seeing inflation down at 2.6, I mean,
yeah.
I think it's a strong number.
And anybody that Trump appointed in the first term, though, those were all insider guys. Those were guys that were, pre-selected by the people that were, put in place to try to advise
people
Trump.
he trusted. The people he
No.
trusted.
Well,
He trusted them to make the right decision for sure.
yeah, but
Otherwise,
he did.
he had the power to a point.
But he was not educated on it. He didn't
That was,
like. He was just trusting his advisors completely.
that's his fault. You should
Yeah,
never
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's
blindly
not.
trust your
I'm not
advisors.
saying
I mean,
I'm not saying. Well, I mean, like every president has those same like pre-placed in advisors, you know. And so like there's tons of people that go into the fact that like the president doesn't really make decisions, the advisors do. You know what I mean? Those people
he
that are
picks
next
the
to him.
advisors, right? So
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
that, so it's 100% on Trump.
No, but they're already in
Powell
place though. They're just kind of put
No,
into Republican positions, and they're like, we suggest this guy being your advisor, and he's like, okay, I'll consider it. And then like they'll keep like, I mean, this is why that 2017 term, dude, he ate all that up. He ate all that up. You can look it up. You can look it up.
yeah, I mean that's his fault though. It's 100% that you cannot.
I'm not saying it's
never
not his
ever.
fault.
That's like taking over a company and saying I got to just trust my board. No, if you take over a company, you're taking over it for a reason, right? Because you're appointed at that position, so it's your job to make sure your advisors are the right people you need in place.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it's not his fault, and also.
Yeah.
He did give pushback for certain things, but they were just like, this is not how it goes. This is not how, the presidency goes, So, I mean, without going deep into it, you can look into it because it definitely was a lot of that.
I just can't see Trump being like, okay, yes, okay.
No, fine. Like I said, he wasn't.
Said.
There's really talented people that know how to sweeten people up. I'll tell you that. But anyways, with that being said,
I just don't think Trump can be sweetened up. I mean, maybe.
All you gotta do is tell him you like him, and he's like, "I love that guy."
Well, I mean, Elon got punched in the face by Scott Bassett, so I don't know what that situation, but you didn't hear about that? This black eye was potentially from Scott Bassett. Him, Elon, and Bassett got into a fist fight right before Elon stepped down as the Doge commissioner. I was reading about it last night. U.S. inflation continues to come down lower than expected, 2.7 in December, and core inflation. So this is a big deal. But Poly Markets is not showing any signs of breaking down here. 95% no change and no cut. So even with inflation down, jobs numbers still look strong. We're getting those jobs numbers this week, but last week we got the non-farm payroll, and so jobs looking good. This is looking good. So I don't see another rate cut until we get a new chairman in May.
Probably not. We got one in December, which people didn't expect. So it's kind of like I didn't expect anything in January or February, really.
The market expected the rate cut in December. I mean, it was like 99%.
Well, except for that was after his last meeting. So he had a meeting in, I think it was it October, where he said most people took it that he wasn't going to cut.
It was November
that he wasn't going to cut in December. And then there was another like situation where he spoke, and then it made people feel like, okay, he is going to cut. So up until that moment though, like Poly Market had it no cut in December for a long time, and then it flipped.
Yeah, I think it was more 50-50 though. I don't think it was like 80 something. We can go back. But this is the crazy part. So BNY Mellon warns pressure on Federal Reserve could push interest rates higher. So they're like, hey, by Trump putting pressures on Jerome Powell, expect Jerome Powell to come out and raise rates before he leaves, just to piss Trump off. Bank of America said the same thing. Criminal investigation into Jerome Powell could delay more interest rate cuts. But then Trump comes out and says, too late, Powell should just cut interest rates meaningfully. He wants a 0.5 cut here. I don't know, man. It's just like the banks are coming out and saying, hey, that's our boy. Like, don't mess with our boy here.
Of course it's their boy, dude. Like he looks for people think that like the Fed it looks out for the best interest for the American individual. No, they look for the best interest for the banking system. And yes, it does flow into economy, of course, because like, if your banking system's jacked up, then the individual person's going to feel it. But it's geared towards the banking institutions. And so, they're probably sticking up for him too, because that's their guy, you know what I mean? That's their guy. Right. And so,
got to cover your ass, right? When this guy is coming in the middle of the night and patching the holes in your banking system, I mean, you definitely have to make sure that he knows that you have his back. So we'll see what happens with that. But moving along here, SEC chair Paul Atkins says the top priority is bringing crypto markets out of the regulatory gray zone, right? And then Elizabeth Warren comes out and says SEC chairman Paul Atkins needs to explain protections after Trump's executive order allows crypto in 401ks. So Elizabeth Warren and her anti-crypto army, you know, they're still trying to fight this, which is funny. It's like, just take care of your state, just take care of Massachusetts or wherever the hell you're from, and you know, there's nothing she can do anymore. It's just so pathetic that she even comes out and even tries to say anything at this point, because you know, this was in the big beautiful bill, right? So this is, you know, this was in the part of the Genius Act, right? This is stuff that it's going to happen if she likes it or not. But she wants Paul Atkins to explain himself, and he's like, we just got to get crypto out of the gray zone.
Yeah. It's the approach that they took. You know, I think they actually called it the anti-crypto army, didn't they?
Yeah,
At
that
one
was the
point?
name of the administration. Yeah,
Yeah,
or
and
that part.
so like there's already a strong negative connotation associated with Elizabeth Warren in the digital asset space. And now, if you haven't noticed, she hasn't been as vocal about, like, you know, her picket, you know, putting up her signs and stuff like that, you know, against it, because guess who's getting involved now? The banks, right? And that's her bread and butter. And so, you know, but so now I think that, like, something like this, though, I actually think is important. I do think it's important because you have a 401k, you have a way that, like, companies help their employees in terms of, you know, doing the match and all these things. You know, 401k is supposed to be looked at as like this retirement fund safe asset group, you know, portfolio type of thing, right? And if you look at it like over a long period of time, it does do that because it's in the indexes and in the safer assets, right? And so you can customize it, but if you just go based on the company, the, you know, third party company management company's plan for default, you know, over time it goes up. And if you're adding crypto into there, it, you know, it does scare people. And there should be, you know, certain assets only allowed in there, and I'm sure that's what's in there. Also, they just want clarity. So for the first time, I would say probably, like, you know, she has a good point about this just being more cleared up, you know. And but yeah, he definitely just wants it to get out of the gray zone, which I agree with that, and there needs to be more work done with that to get it out. I do believe, like, stuff that just happened, you know, like, you know, if someone's going to launch a coin and they're, you know, a celebrity or a public official or something like that, like, there just needs to be more of, like, structure with that kind of stuff. And definitely structure with this.
Yeah, I mean, the only asset really should be allowed into a, you know, portfolio, 401k portfolio anyway, by, you know, held by elderly people and whoever else. You know, it's just Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, I don't think you should be allowed to put anything else in there right now, until some of these assets. I think you should be like a 10-year thing where that asset has to be around for 10 years before it can access 401k, right? And you know,
then
right now that's
and
just
then index
Bitcoin.
fund would be eventually would be good, I think. But yeah, 2027, whenever that 10-year mark hits for something, because I agree with that. I think that's a good extra kind of safeguard to put in there. When Ethereum becomes 10 years old, or, you know, Solana eventually becomes 10
Next
years
year, yeah.
old or whatever, then they can go in there or something. They'll think of something. But an index product is necessary, I feel like, for something like this, but it needs to be very tight, you know, like
Yeah,
you said, Bitcoin, Ethereum,
nothing else.
maybe in 10 years, like 2 more or something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want XRP being in 401k for sure. All right, let's move along to our next story here. Former NYC Mayor Eric Adams launched a crypto token claiming it to fight anti-Semitism. I guess that's anti-Jewish, right? Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Semitism? I don't know. The coin has
Anti-Semitism.
since crashed over 81% from its peak. Bubble Map says the deployer linked wallet ran a one-sided liquidity on Meteora, pulled about 2.5 million USDC near the top, and then added back 1.5 million immediately, leaving about $932,000. So basically, and there's a really good article on Decrypt that I was kind of reading here. So you know, he came out, he launched his token, he did it through his Twitter, publicly did it. The coin ran to, which is crazy. I don't know who would
500
potentially
and
invest in this.
something.
Yeah, it's got around like $580 million. And then they pulled that liquidity, which was, only, 1.3. So it had, I mean, right now the liquidity is about 3.8 million. So at that point, there was a ton of liquidity in there. So they didn't like rug pull it in the sense of rug pulling as we know it, but it did cause a collapse from everyone saying, oh, wow, they're pulling it. They're pulling it. So, at the time there was over $30 million in liquidity. They pulled potentially 3 out, and then they seen what happened and they immediately put 1.9 back in. I don't know. I don't even know what I think about this. Welcome to crypto. I mean, there's nothing we can do. You're a dumbass if you get in this. That's the problem.
Or if you don't exit at some point when it's $580 million, like the blueprint's out there, like we've seen it. We've seen it with, even if you go to Trump too. I mean, it wasn't like this, but
Yeah.
Melania for sure. Libre, the African nation coin. Like it's like anybody that has a big name that launches a coin, expect this. Just expect it at this point, right? I think there needs to be definitely like more structure around this kind of stuff, though. That's me, especially if, I mean, look, at the end of the day, TradFi is coming to our space, right? So like we can't stop that. And so if TradFi is coming to our space, then they're gonna like clean up different aspects to where it gives them an advantage. And I'm sure that this will be looked at more in the future, but it shouldn't be like overlooked right now. And I feel like the administration right now and whoever's in charge of like digital assets right now are just completely overlooking this kind of stuff, and it needs to not be.
I honestly have no problem with it. Right. I feel like it's his right to, it's his money. He wants to pull it out. It's his money. This is the freedom. This is freedom here. I believe in complete freedom. So if you're the dumbass who gets into this, right? If you're an idiot and you buy this at the top there, you deserve to lose money. Right.
It's just not good for it's just not good for public perception of our space.
Doesn't matter. It's about freedom, right? It's like saying freedom of speech isn't good for public perception. You should be allowed to do whatever you want when it comes to this stuff. You want to launch a coin, that's fine. You want to rug it, that's up to you, right? But if you made promises, which he did make no promises, he made nothing like that. He said, this is just a token, a fight, anti-Americanism and anti-Jewish, right? It's just like it's a meme coin. It has no utility. Like there's no utility promise, nothing like that. I feel like
so how's it used to fight it though? Awareness?
Well, they didn't come out and say anything, so it's just them just saying.
They
words.
Said it was it's being created to fight it.
Well,
that is
how do you know
something.
that 900K wasn't used to do that? That they pulled out, right? So it's just like you just don't know.
So does that statement that it's being used to fight anti-Semitism, does it deserve a follow-up?
Not really.
Not really.
You can say anything. That's the thing. It's like it's one of those things where it's. You in the beginning you didn't refer to what it is. So if you just used 100K,
I mean he did.
He said it. I mean, he said it, but he didn't explain how. So if he just used 100K of that money, technically he fought it. Technically
by what, like
$1,000. I mean,
he could say awareness. He could say awareness.
Well, awareness or anything. This did bring awareness to anti-Americanism or whatever. I don't know. I'm reading the damn words, right? I didn't even heard of anti-Americanism before until today, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I don't. I just feel like we in crypto need to smarten the hell up, and this should have only went to $3-4 million. That's it. Stop. Well, if you want to gamble,
this is not regular people necessarily at first pushing it up that high. This is people like the Hayden, whatever his last name is, those groups of people that know how to get tokens going like this. Come on, this is definitely not just regular people ain't pushing this to $580 million.
Yeah, well, that should have been the first flag for people. Don't buy this shit. Do you see this stuff? Just look at it and say, "Oh wow, they launched a coin." You don't. We should learn, but we should smarten up right now. It's just, to me, it's just like, and it's just no retail is personally like without a crypto wallet downloading a Solana wallet to buy this. They're not doing that. Right? This is just traders that are trying to make money and they lost money.
Well, it definitely makes me look at Eric Adams a little bit. You know, so I wasn't a huge fan of him back in, let's let you go back like 4 years ago, maybe 6 years ago necessarily. But the past like 2 years, it seems like he's kind of, you know, tried to, I guess, like align a little bit more
Save
with
his ass.
well, yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it ended up being. And this is, in my opinion, this is proof, right? Because you know, if he truly was about, you know, the right thing and this and that and the other, I don't think he would have done this. Or if he would have done it, it would have been more like structured and like not the way it happened. But I mean, it is
He's
what
a
it
piece
is.
of garbage. He's always been a piece of garbage. You know, he stole from the state of New York is kind of what I'm hearing, right? One of the rumors out there. I don't know if it's true, but he's always been a piece of shit. Like he's funneled money out of there. He's taken money from the UAE and then got in trouble for it and then had to kiss Trump's ass. He's always been a piece of shit. Why do you think this time is different? Why would you get into a coin from a piece of shit? You know what I mean? Like it's just to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, also then it makes me also think about like people associating with the current administration as well and them embracing them because he was embraced.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Trump loved Democratic mayors that had his back. Of course, he was the only one. Him and I mean, and what's the name from Pennsylvania? The one senator, Fetterman.
Fetterman.
Like, there's not many Democrats that actually kiss the ring like they have, right? So it's kind of like and I respect Fetterman. I think he's like one of the best senators out there because he's very middle leaning in the on a lot of stuff out there. But like again, Eric Adams, the only reason why he was kissing the ring was to CYA cover his ass.
Yeah.
So, but again, I have no problem with this. And if you're stupid enough to get into something like this, you deserve to take the L. You know what I mean? Like it's freedom of investment.
Yeah, but the problem would be, what if there were people that were onboarded into our space through this token? You know what I mean? And that happened with like the Trump token, that happened with, Melania, I'm sure, and some of these other ones that they ended up getting hurt by. And it's not good experience for people that are trying to learn about it.
Education is very expensive. Very expensive.
Sure. But
you know what I mean?
Maybe
They're gonna learn
never
a
come
lesson
back
from this. Maybe come back. Maybe be forced to come back when stable coins are in your credit card, right? So it's just like in my opinion.
I mean, a lot of people are attributing, retail got scared after the Trump token too. They got scared because they bought on Coinbase whenever the people associated with the space was like, this is like taking off, and then Coinbase listed it late, sure, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, that hurt a bunch of people that probably felt like, oh, this is that crypto cycle that they talk about again is starting, and then didn't come back.
A lot of people made a lot of money though. I mean, if you were smart enough to
insider people or like
people
that are knowledgeable, not any new onboarding people unless their friends were.
Dave
like,
Portnoy is somebody who got a lot of people in that coin, and he got out, and right when he got out, he pretty much got out like near the top.
Okay.
So if you follow Dave
he
Portnoy,
knows what he's doing though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's kind of like one of those things where it's like he was smart enough to get out the top. He told.
But he's been associated with crypto though, and so like his following too, because he's been associated with crypto for so long. I'm talking about the person that's like, hears about it. It's on Coinbase. They download Coinbase. They go buy it, and then they buy like $1,000, thinking, "Oh, this is going to turn into 10K or whatever." And in fact, it turned into $100, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Is that
you
type
say
of
the same thing
stuff.
about Terra Luna? People bought Terra Luna on Coinbase at $90 and then watched their entire portfolio go to zero. This is crypto.
Like, no. So I agree with that part, but Terra Luna was after like having a ton of success in our space for a good at least like 8 months over 2021. Yeah.
But my point is, like, don't put your whole portfolio in this stuff. If you lose, you should only be putting 1 to 2% in these risky assets like this. And if you go overboard, that's a you problem.
You shouldn't even put that much in there.
1 to 2%, I think it's fine. If you have like a 100K portfolio and you put $2,000 into something, I think that's. I mean, it's up to you, right? Because if you think you can make 10x on that money, but again, it's a bad week. It's not a bad year or life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You got to be smart when you're investing.
Like, so the reason why I say this kind of stuff is because like our space is changing too, and if you look at TradFi, which is completely different, I get it. Like, I get the argument. It's completely different. You can't compare it, whatever. But now we're starting to merge, right? So stuff like that, that happens over there, I mean, immediately shut down, immediately investigated. Like the whole what was it? The Nikola situation where people were saying that they were the 18 wheelers were being like pulled by chains or whatever because they weren't going because they did a video like that was heavily investigated. And I think that's what myself is kind of hitting too, because like earlier when he talked about that, he said he said, I'm talking about high level corruption. Crypto needs Nick Shirley investigator types, of course, can be dangerous. So CoffeeZilla was kind of that.
Yeah.
But maybe he's like, I'm not getting as many views because crypto is down, because he's covering all types of different shit now. Like if you go look at his channel, I don't even think I've seen a crypto video on there recently. Right. And so but yes, it was a Bloomberg reporter that investigated Nikola that got Trevor, the CEO, I forgot his last name, Trevor something, like basically under fire, and he had to step down and all that stuff. So that kind of stuff is what I'm talking about, especially if we're going to merge. Does that come here?
That's uncomparable though, because that's an IPO, right? They lied to their investors. They put everything out there. It's, you know, they documented everything in a certain way. It's a complete fraud case. In this situation, I don't want to get to a point where every ICO needs paperwork. I don't want to get to that point, right? And then that's where everyone who's crying about this is saying they want, oh, you want official paperwork from the. If we get to a point where every ICO, every token launch needs, and especially from a meme coin, needs all this documentation, we're no better than TradFi. We just completely ruined.
TradFi is pretty damn good in terms of making money.
You need an IPO. It takes 6 to 9 months to launch a fucking.
No, I'm just saying
IPO.
like people that have TradFi down and mastered, they're doing pretty damn good.
But I'm not
for
saying
themselves.
that. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to get to a point where we need 6 to 9 months before a meme coin can launch and stuff like that. I want freedom over here. I want to continue the freedom of, if you want to launch a meme coin, launch it. If people are stupid enough to get into it for whatever reason, as long as you're not making false promises of saying, hey, like, you know, I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing this, then it's different. But if you're going to come out and just say, hey, this is, you know, American. I mean, I'm American.
Okay, so every other asset industry has consequences, though. Like even if you, like, for example, like the collectibles industry is not heavily regulated. Actually, in the only aspect that it is like, you know, regulated is if you commit like blatant, like, trying to scam people. An example would be someone that has a fake PSA 10
it's a fraud,
MJ,
fraud.
like selling it, and, you know, and all that stuff. So, or selling just fake cards or whatever. But you know, the SEC and even the CFTC and stuff, they stay out of that hobbies business.
Everything you mentioned though is fraud. So there's no fraud taking place when you launch a meme coin. There's no promises being made, right? So again, I agree. If there's fraud, 100%. If Merrick Adams came in and said, "Hey,"
so what would be considered fraud in that situation?
In meme coins, nothing. I mean, there's
if you come out
and say it's the meme coin, it's a utility, or it's a utility coin. So if they come out and say it's a utility coin, we're going to be creating all this cool. If WillFi came out, right, and then said, hey, like, we're completely lying to everybody. If it turns out and they're not building,
that's not how fraud works.
Stuff,
people don't go and say, hey, I'm frauding you guys.
No, but if someone comes out, if investigative journalism comes out and says how this is complete fraud, everything they said is bullshit. They're not doing anything that they're telling their investors. That's fraud. 100%. Okay. But if a meme coin, you come out and say there's no utility with this, it's a meme coin.
First of all, I don't even think he
anti-Americanism.
I don't think he said there's no utility.
It says meme coin in the article.
But did he say that there's no utility for it or anything like that?
No,
is that needed?
Is
that needed? So you don't think that's needed?
He said meme coin. He said it.
I know. So whenever you say meme coin, you're just like, you're good.
I think so, because everyone, you know, there's no utility. So there's no fraud.
So it doesn't matter who's hearing it. It's like, okay, meme coin, you're good. You're golden.
Fight was a meme coin. As long as you don't promise anything to your investors, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I see. Like you said, I think, meaning that there's a gray area, meaning that there's not like an actual law or, you know, in place. And so that's what I'm saying. So that needs to happen. Agree or not?
So you every token launch now is going to be in like an IPO.
No, I'm not saying that either. But like, if there's a law out there that says if you state that this is a meme coin, you're good to go. Okay, now we have black and white. Like it's actually in.
We
like,
don't
print.
need laws. Let's say that. I mean, if you drop a meme, it's a meme coin.
So
Like it's never, we don't need
then why
that.
did you say I think so? Whenever I asked you, I said if it's a meme coin, you're good to go. You're just like I think so because it's a meme coin. Like
It's
so
a meme coin, but
that's not
until
like
they
a
create
factual.
laws,
That's not
until
a
they
fact.
create laws,
That's what I'm saying is that we
we
probably
don't need
that.
them. We don't need them
Wait, why are you saying until they create them then?
because they are going to create them, right? They
Yeah.
are going to, but I don't think we need them. You know,
No,
I don't
I
think
don't know.
that. I think if you're a dumbass to get in this coin, you deserve to lose money.
So I think that's for people that understand the space for sure, 100%.
And they're going to learn the space. It's good for them to lose money in the beginning. It really is. It's education. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to these schools and end up leaving them and become bartenders. Like it's education. You learn something from it. Like never to do that again. It's really good for. I mean, me and you, we both lost tons of money. We learned so much. Education is very.
I mean,
expensive.
like
If
I
you
would
get
rather have
into-
not and just like been able to learn it without losing money. But yeah, I get
You
it from
can't.
that perspective, per cycle. But is that even how it works anymore? Like you know what I mean? Like to where we learn from this cycle to the next cycle or whatever.
I mean,
You know what I
people learn
mean?
in TradFi by getting into stuff that has fraud to it, right? But not doing the right due diligence and
I mean,
trusting. The
sometimes
wrong
they get
people.
compensated. Those people
They didn't get compensated.
Huh?
I mean, in lawsuit maybe, but like the
Yeah,
people
that's what
who
I'm saying.
invested in that company that you talked about a few minutes ago, they no compensation. They lost money. The traders lost money.
No, I mean the price was reflective in it, but it bounced back a little bit as well. So Nikola bounced back, and because like the CEO got booted out, and there's a new CEO that came in, and they just told the truth about everything. So, anyways, I don't know. I think that there needs to be more clarity, and
I don't want.
we'll probably agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a bad day once we're doing IPO in like paperwork for someone dropping a meme coin. Like I think that's going to be a terrible day.
I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying if there's like a law that says if you say that if you clearly state that there's this is a meme coin.
Say it would be paperwork. It would have to be some type of paperwork. Like saying it's something you can adjust so many different ways. So the only way that would actually work is if they come in and they have to put out paperwork for dropping a meme coin.
Okay,
like
but
you'd have to sign it in the law with a signature.
Well, no. Like what if there's no approval for it? You just put the paperwork in and say this is a meme coin that I'm launching, and then you can just launch it. Now you have something that's documented that you submitted that backs.
You can do that right now. You can post a thing about a meme coin. I mean,
but they haven't stated it.
Meme coin.
They haven't stated that. That's pretty much
new
the
NYC
the guidelines.
A meme coin
that is here to fight anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Who knows what that means?
I mean, I know what it means. I don't know if you do.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. So Polygon to become a U.S. regulated payments platform. It said we're acquiring Coinme, a sequence to move all money on chain. Coinme is a U.S. Crypto payments company that helps people and businesses move between cash and crypto. What it does, Coinme is best known for enabling cash to crypto and crypto to cash, including large retail kiosk style Bitcoin ATM. So when you go to your local convenience store, 7-Eleven, and you see these Bitcoin ATMs, 90% of them are from Coinme. Polygon now wants to be able to personally go to one of these ATMs, deposit cash, and actually get stable coins in return. And if you have stable coins, they want you to be able to go to this ATM and get cash. I think this is the next level in Polygon. I think it's stupid for Coinbase not to grab this ATM. I mean, it's genius.
Yeah, I mean, are you getting more and more bullish on Polygon in general? Because I just keep hearing about like just these crazy like infrastructure stuff that they're doing, and I feel like they're just so under their radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm bullish on Polygon in general. Just, I mean, they have projects that come out from there that you're like, why'd you build there? And then they're huge. You know what I mean? Polymarket, and then infrastructure stuff. They are the official blockchain for, I think, the Indian tokenized rupee, maybe.
Yep.
Something like that. Okay. And then now this, like US, so not just India, they're like dealing with US regulated payments. I mean, like Polygon to me is the most quiet like winner that's winning right now.
Their third highest NFT marketplace by volume. right? OpenSea has Polygon. Magic Eden has Polygon. The Trump for the first Trump NFT runs on Polygon, right? So it's like they have all those cards, you know, that are from Courtyard now trading, you know, on Magic Eden, on OpenSea. You know, so you have Tom Brady rookie cards, Magic Johnson rookie cards are now traded, and they're all on Polygon. Like, a lot of people don't understand the Pole token. I wish to go back to Matic. I like the Matic name better, but the Pole token, I think is something that is so undervalued right now.
I wonder if the tokenomic is it tokenomic issue that may be holding people back with it, or you know,
the team's been unlocking a lot of it.
okay,
That's kind of what
because
I
there has to be
understand.
some reason why it's not being talked about, like as like a top, you know, constantly in the headlines and stuff. Because it's not being like thrown out there like Hyperliquid is constantly, or you know, BNB and Solana and stuff like that. I mean, look at that. That's
Yeah,
what is that over?
that's over the
Oh, okay, forever.
2020.
At least there's a little bit of a pull up
Yeah, it's just like
towards the
just
end.
recently, really. But this is a really good place if you're bullish on this. It's down 64% on the year. I remember this thing was at $2 in 2023. It's pretty crazy. So
Like, have you messed with the chain lately? I haven't. You know, I know Merlin uses like their SDK, so I guess you know experience a little bit of what
well,
it's like. But I remember using it in 2022 with the perps decks back then, and I was like, "This is horrible." But they must have improved tons since 2022. You know, in terms of
well,
speed and everything.
yeah. I mean, I had never had an issue with it. I've done swaps on Uniswap and stuff like that. I mean, I bought one of the first Trump NFTs. It was like $100 or something through the Trump website, but I had a KYC to get it, and ended up selling it once it was tradable. But besides that, I don't even. I did some Zen stuff on Polygon when it dropped, but not very much of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really use the chain, but every time you use Polymarket, you're using the chain. So
Yeah. I mean, but think about every headline that we've talked about them that they're involved with, right? So like obviously we talked about like when Merlin first launched, right? So SDK, so that is big because that means that they're doing like almost kind of like a white glove type of thing of their technology that other chains are using, right? A Bitcoin layer 2 too. That's big. Biggest the project that created predictions markets and Polymarket, right? Like global countries currency tokenization, and now we're talking about payments, like US regulated payments. Like they're covering all these areas. It's kind of like they're just like have like, you know, all these like focuses, and they're just like, what else can they do? You know what I'm saying? Like they're winning in my opinion. And like I think the biggest thing is figuring out what's the best approach to have exposure with them. You know, because obviously the obvious idea is their token, the Pole token.
yeah.
And then what else is there though? Because the Pole token it doesn't seem so attractive at the moment, and I think that's probably like my short term thinking because that's what crypto's been in. And so if you maybe you zoom out your perspective a bit, and maybe you say, hey, look, I'm gonna just hold this for 5-10 years.
I think if you hold this for a year, you're gonna 5x. I do. I think this gets back to $1. I think the reason why it is so beaten down is there's a couple of different reasons. There's no one with money in the ecosystem right now. I think the team is using some of the Pole to kind of keep the area of building, right? Like when they buy something like this, right? I bet you 90% of it is either sold down from the Pole token or given to Coinme as the Pole token. I doubt any of it is actually real cash, right? It's probably so. I do think that, you know, when you're getting in deals with India, you're probably got to pay. When you're doing deals with keeping Polymarket, you probably have to pay. When you're, you know, so I do think they're selling down the token a lot to kind of make sure that they're able to pay for these things and keep their team going and pay for the dApps to build there. I don't know. I think Polygon is going to be something. I think we're going to look up one day and be, oh shit, it's top 5.
So very well could be true. I almost feel like they took the you know, a page of the XRP's playbook from like 2017 to like 2020 2021, where I'm under the impression, I gotta look this up further, but like I'm speculating here, but I feel like XRP reached out to a lot of these corporations and Web2 companies and paid them to have partnerships, right? Like, because they were constantly talking about Western Union and this part, you know, payments. That it was more about like, this is what we're gonna do, but then the execution part lacked. But with Polygon, I feel like they're doing that, probably did that, you know, reached out, said, hey, let's do something together, but then execution followed through. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you made a lot of promises that the XRP chain just can't keep, right? Because the XRPL is just an off-chain indexer, but you know what I mean. So, Poly Market, they actually have, you know, real utility. You know, staking the Polygon token, you get, I think it's like 8 or 9% APY. That could be another reason why, you know, the price hasn't been big, because a lot of people are taking their profit and selling their staking rewards and stuff like that. So
yeah, or just approaching, like, you know, the right people in governments and saying, hey, you ever thought about tokenizing the rupee? And yeah, we have thought about that. We're trying to get involved in crypto. We can handle all your infrastructure. You know, let us do it. We're proven. You know, the founder's Indian too, so he's probably, you know, able to work his way into that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be a shift of way some of these chains start to build relationship and partnerships in the future too.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think we're going to see more and more of that. But I'm curious if they had to pay for that, for the rupee, right? So
I mean, obviously there has to be a value sell to every side that you're getting in, and I think that more than not, especially in the past 4 years, you know, Web3 had to pitch and get the other side into it. Maybe this past year it was easier because, you know, infrastructure is coming on. Everybody expected the administration to make things crazy good, which you know, that's a different story. But you know, institutions wise, they like it. So
yeah, for sure. We got a lot of amazing comments here.
Yeah.
Myself, where we go? Blazing Bandit. Damn. Let me make sure I go to the top here. Got that one. So Ryan says, what's up, fellas? What's up, Ryan? Appreciate you, my friend. He said, we're no longer looking for a pump. Myself says, I'm talking high level corruption. Crypto needs Nick Shirley. But yeah, 100%. You know, in that area is for sure. I mean, it was CoffeeZilla, but like Yagobi's point, you know, crypto's not getting the views that he once had. Scott Bessett's known for throwing down. Was he a boxer? I have no idea if he was a boxer or not, but that's one of the rumors I'm hearing, that it was when he had a black eye at the Oval Office. Elon.
That would be so weird though, because Scott Bessett doesn't seem like that type of guy.
That's what people are saying. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. Luke Powell with Greenland as its 51st state smells like a bull run. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Myself said, careful talk about Jews, don't want to get kirked. Okay, I shouldn't have read that. Myself said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. Albert says, so Shizzy is ready to throw away all of 26 already and jump straight in 2027, and in the year barely just started. So this just comes from Benjamin Cohen to me, right? I'm just listening to somebody who's 94% right, someone I should have probably listened to a long time ago, and his prediction is, you know, potentially a bullish summer, you know, with some cool down.
So he likes the summer.
He likes the summer. Yeah, bullish summer. And then a cool down, and then going into next year, he thinks next year is going to be kind of bullish in the sense of a rebuilding year, because he does see October as potentially, you know, another drawdown. So I don't know, but
what does that do for you though? Because I know that summers are not your favorite.
Well, he's just saying we're going to have a drawdown from here to the summer. So Bitcoin 65K.
Oh, okay.
You know, whatever it is, and then pick back up in the summertime, and then in October he's actually expecting it to bottom. So whatever the bottom number is, he's expecting it to be around October 6th, which is 1 year from the all-time high, right? So now will be the bottom, and then we can continue the structuring and have a bullish 2027. So I don't know. I'm just kind of, you know, giving you guys the data that he's I'm hearing him say. So Albert says, watching XMR pump and realizing that it's closer to the original cyberpunk idea that Bitcoin originally was before it got institutionalized. XMR is like a bad kid that's lighting fires and bringing police to the neighborhood. The privacy thing scares me a little bit. I don't know if I would be in any privacy coins. I just feel like we can wake up one morning and like the UK and Germany and all these countries just banned privacy coins, right? And stuff like that. I just feel like the governments are not gonna, once they realize what the hell these coins are, they're not gonna want to be a part of them or want them trading.
Yeah. So I feel like they used to not like privacy coins or privacy chains, but I feel like they want to use them now that like blockchains are so public. But that goes against of giving people the power, right? Or sorry, no, that goes towards giving people the power if they embrace privacy chains, but they want to use them for their benefit, right? So I think what could happen is like what you're saying is they ban the privacy chains that everybody knows about, and then there's just these secret like privacy chains or something behind the scenes and stuff that.
It's kind of like a mullet, like privacy up front, and then a party in the back, meaning like they can decode everything, right? And I think that it's going to be looked at as privacy, JP Morgan's privacy chain, right? But then in reality, everything is seen when they want to see it.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. Was once JPM coin, they wanted it back on, was it CC?
Canton,
yeah, and for privacy, because it was just like, oh, that makes complete sense. I mean, like, what financial institutions want to open their books to the world? None.
Nope, they do not want you saying that they bought Tesla before they came out and said, we love Tesla. They don't want to, and then dump it right after they say that. So I don't know. I love this comment. Shizzy is so right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Stan says, any opinion by the channel of the new white paper by ICP dropping tomorrow, claiming to reduce inflation by 70%?
Needs it.
I'll look into it. I don't know anything about
it. That's what the supply is one of the biggest problems I think with ICP, is because when it did get listed on Coinbase and FTX and stuff, obviously the release supply was not like it was a small circulating supply, so the price was like skyrocketing, plus demand was there, and that's why like you don't see anything. So if they have a good plan to do that, I think that'd be huge for them.
Yeah, I'm down to read this. I'm actually, so maybe tomorrow we can look into it if it's available. Myself says, understanding how networks are valued is key to crypto. Yeah, 100%. Understanding, I mean, is it revenue? Like it's gonna be real eye-opening for sure. Mogar says, I remember watching an interview with Polygon. He said that they didn't care about the token price, just infrastructure. Also seems to be the same for Avalanche subnets. The goal is volume. Right now, I don't think a chain should be worrying about the coin price, right? Right now.
Yeah, I mean, for them, like I think Polygon makes money off of their SDK, right? And then if they get enough clients for that, then that's one revenue stream, and then servicing a country's digital currency, another revenue stream. So for them, I think that makes sense, right? It's like they don't care about the token, because for them it's more about having their technology kind of everywhere, like a spider web, and then the money will come. I mean, they don't need money anyways right now. I mean, like the founders, right? And stuff. So it's more like domination, right? So imagine like the tech bro club, and they all want to be, number one, but not everybody can be number one, and I think a lot of them are okay being number 2, 3, and 4. They just don't want to be like number 20.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that for sure. Yeah, I do. Like I said, we can wake up one day and Polygon is just ripping.
That's a good point. I mean, that you make there. Yeah, I mean, and remember when we did the time lapse of the top 10? That was a really cool thing that you brought in there, by the way. And you just let it run, and it was just like, some of these coins from 2013 were just like, what was that in the top? And then you had all of the derivative Bitcoin Cash, the Satoshi Vision, and Ethereum Classic, right? Jump it up in the top 10. Eventually those kind of, a lot of people probably knew they were going to go to the wayside. Well, yeah. So what does that top 10 look like in 2030, right?
Yeah,
it's going to look different, but we know pretty much that Bitcoin's going to be there, number one. Ethereum will probably be number 2. And eventually over time, I think like those top 3, probably number 3 is the tricky one, I think. You know, Bitcoin, Ethereum probably will always be there, right? And then number 3 is like, who could take that? Like
Solana.
But doesn't it? It's rotated since. But Solana has, So
XRP and Solana are just flipping each other constantly. I mean, I'm sorry, not XRP. Binance Smart Chain and Solana. XRP is usually number 5, but I want to see XRP and Cardano completely fall out of the top 10, even top 20, and I would love to see
top
real
20.
Like
that means that they're completely failed.
I don't know if they failed. I just feel like everything outpaced it. Like I think you can go to $10, but then you're seeing kind of everything else just kind of be so much stronger than it. You know what I mean? Over the course of the next 10 years.
Well, if you think about like the top stocks too, right? Like you think about you know, Nvidia's kind of newer in terms of the last 6 years or whatever, but like Apple, Google, those type of companies that
Microsoft.
So that's the thing. Microsoft to me eventually became less and less sexy as like time went on, but it was still there. You know what I'm saying? It was still there. So will XRP be like that one that's not sexy, but still there in the top 10? Because, I mean, there's a lot of community. There's a lot of market cap there. You know, like, I feel like it'd be tough to get them knocked out.
Yeah, I don't think it's that tough. I think you're going to see a lot of. I think Hyperliquid passes it. I think because TradFi's here now, right? They're going to start looking at revenue and stuff like that. They're going to be investing in that type of stuff. So I don't think it's. I think you're going to see Hyperliquid in the top 5 a little bit, pushing XRP out. You're going to see Polygon up there, in my opinion. You're going to see stuff without revenue, without these chains being used. I think people are starting to wake up. Like, hey, you say Cardano is this amazing asset, but the chain sucks. It's terrible experience. There's no one using it. There's like 15 builders. Like, I think you're eventually going to see people waking up, and this stuff actually matter again, not just communities. And that's when XRP and Cardano kind of fall out of the top 15. Maybe Canton, something that gets up in the top 10, pushes XRP down a little bit. Like I said, I don't think XRP is going to like completely fall off the wave side, but I think the meme coins are going to be looked at differently, kind of going into this next reality, and stuff's going to be kind of, you know, instead of it being a chain, now it's a community token, and then Ripple goes public doing it with an IPO, and
so that's going to be
themselves.
It's an interesting day, because if that happens, let's just say it, like, I know that your mindset is that it is going to happen. They know that that crushes, you know, their XRP community, right? And so that is something, if they just go forward with that without considering their XRP community, that is something that could definitely knock XRP out. But go ahead.
I've heard people talk. They go to these events, these XRP events and stuff like that, and like they talk about XRP to these people, these Ripple employees, and they don't really know much about XRP. They're so like it's two different things. It really is. I think they've already gone like into looking at a potential IPO, and then they said they're potential SPAC. So Ripple's already gauging this. I think it's going to happen. I think.
Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine like Brad Garlinghouse and, you know, the leadership there just kind of pushing XRP to the wayside, though. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard for me to do that, because I mean, look at it right now. If you look at it with its market cap and where it's pinned right now, I think it's probably like number 6, right? Or number 5, something like that. Yeah. So that's immense success, you know, like that's so successful, right? So for them to just kind of push that to the side, I just can't see it.
The Ripple building, you know, it's just like a beautiful building, has no XRP logos or nothing in it. Nothing.
Well, I mean, Ripple is a registered company.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
but
it's two different.
But they know the value of XRP, obviously, right? That's why they keep trying to prop it up.
They sell it down. Their biggest revenue is
when
XRP
I say prop it up is the way they talk about it, the interviews and stuff like that. Because they do like Brad Garlinghouse talks about it still, and so does David Schwartz. They talk about XRP all the time.
Schwartz left XRP.
Okay, so whoever replaced the CTO, like, you know, they don't talk about it at all. You're saying
the CTO of Ripple is not the CTO of XRP.
Well, there isn't a CTO of XRP.
That's
because XRP is not a company. No, but what I'm saying, like, the CTO of Ripple talks about XRP, right? If not, then I think XRP is in trouble.
I think it's in trouble. Ripple, I'm telling you, dude, Ripple is trying to disassociate themselves from XRP. And it's been happening for years, little by little.
And you've heard them talk like that? I want to hear it.
You can,
because
yeah. I mean, you just type it in. XRP and Ripple, 2 different companies. It's stuff will
No,
come up.
I mean, like,
There's
I know
people that
that part. Like, Ripple is a company, XRP isn't, and so you're saying that Ripple is disassociating
they're no
themselves with
longer
XRP.
building for XRP. They're building for Ripple, right? They want to. They're trying to like make money the Ripple way, whether that's advertise or whether that's like advisorship on projects and stuff like that. But they are disassociating themselves slowly with XRP, and I think David Schwartz saw that, and that's kind of why he left.
I'm gonna look that up because that would be
Yeah.
definitely devastating.
It's been happening for a long time. I mean, I remember BitBoy talking about it in 2022 that he went to a XRP party and nobody in there really even knew, like, they knew about XRP, but they didn't know anything that was happening or anything. They're like, I don't know. We just, we're Ripple. Jason Sinker says XCN going to 0.00001 by the month. Thank me later. Let's go. I don't know what that means. I guess it's 100x. Rick G says, "What's up? Oh, what's up, Rick G? Appreciate you, my friend." And myself says, "A privacy ban would be bullish as F." Do you think that a privacy ban would be bullish for? Because I think the opposite. I don't know.
Would it be bullish, a privacy coin ban? I don't think it would. Well, obviously the privacy coin stuff would get wrecked. That whole sector, which has been thriving.
He says it's bullish. Do you disagree?
I mean, I guess people wouldn't be able to. I mean, who's using it right now? Who's using it?
I mean, the old school Bitcoiners. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, what are they doing? Selling their Bitcoin into Zcash, and then going into Zcash. To me, is one of the most like overhyped privacy protocols, anyways. Because like you got to do some other stuff once you get on there to make your thing masked, right? So XMR to me, Monero or some other that's natively just naturally like that's probably a better option. But again, like I've never heard someone say I have to use Monero for this.
I saw sites that you could pay in Monero, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Zcash. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really see it either. But Monero is up 44%, all-time high in the last 8 days. The chart looks absolutely insane. It's just up only, man. It's just, I mean, incredible. This thing, 3 days ago, this was on the daily chart. 3 days ago, this thing was $450. Today, it's $666.
Wow. When was it 450?
3 days ago. So Saturday.
What is going on with privacy this cycle? Damn, just out of
in October this thing was 242. The low.
Oh no, that's what I meant. Is like I guess because Zcash didn't start jumping until July, right, or something like that.
It was it was like October, November. It was before October because Zcash was one of the stronger ones during that period of 10-10. So, but yeah, I mean. You could have got this thing in June, or I'm sorry, last April for $180. Today it's $666. So one of the strongest narratives for sure. So there's a bull market somewhere. Apparently it's just in privacy.
I guess so.
Ex-head of product, Nikita Bier, I tweeted this morning. He says it's fixed. What's fixed? I don't know. I'm seeing a little bit more crypto on my timeline. I don't know about you. Are you seeing a little bit of more crypto on timeline? I'm not.
I actually am a little bit, a little bit more. Yeah, for sure. There was a time where, when you would say, look, I mean, like I searched something. I forgot what you said, like some world event, maybe the Nick Shirley thing or something, and then all of a sudden, like my whole feed was just that. Like that was happening to me too. But I will say now I am starting to see some familiar accounts back in my feed, which is good. Because I felt like the crypto space definitely was either being suppressed or the algorithm really jacked with us.
Yeah, I mean, Francis Dune first. We were both the other day saying I haven't seen him tweet in a while. Then you go search up his account. He tweeted that morning, right? And we're just like,
oh yeah,
why are we not seeing this? It was so weird. But his thing is at Crypto Lifer. So I don't know if maybe he was just being suppressed or maybe he was being suppressed from our feeds. I don't know, but it really felt like if you put crypto I mean, we saw it yesterday in our tech.
We literally changed our titles because of that.
You cannot put crypto, but he comes out and he says it's fixed. Do you believe him? And you think he'll come out and clarify what the hell is fixed or what was broken? I don't know.
I hope it is. I hope it's fixed. Do I think that it needs to be cleaned up a little bit? Personal opinion, sure. But like that's not the answer. Whatever happened, right? And so I hope it is. And I believe him because I think he's in a position of it. He should not be lying about X updates.
For sure, 100%. Myself says banning untraceable tokens is like banning oxygen. So you're right in a sense, but if you can take them off Coinbase, off Binance, off all these major exchanges, you really stop the flow of the token. I don't, privacy or not, I don't know where to buy Monero on chain, right? And I'm not going to spend the time to do it, right? So it's one of those things where it's like if you take them off Coinbase, if you take them off Binance and all these exchanges, Mexi,
will they be added back now that it's almost kind of like the space is embracing privacy?
That's what you're saying. You are seeing them being added back now. So, but I'm just saying we could wake up tomorrow and Germany and England and France, they all just ban privacy codes.
I kind of feel like Germany, England, and France don't have as much weight as they used to. You know what I mean?
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about like in regards to like US markets, especially because of the current administration. But what you just said 4 years ago, instant, like, we're taking this off. So there are some big markets in the EU that are definitely, will comply quickly or even get ahead of it. Yeah. We knew that from talking to the guys from Bitpanda and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. Crypto data platform CoinGecko, something I use every single day. They're looking to sell for $500 million. Binance bought CoinMarketCap in 2020 for $400 million. So they see their value at $500 million. And obviously that was 4 years ago as well. So they're taking that into there too. But who do you think buys this? Who do you think would want to buy CoinGecko?
I don't know, Coinbase maybe or Kraken. I recently learned that Kraken owns like a lot of like entities. You know what I mean? They either acquired like data, algorithmic like price data platforms or stuff like that. So probably it's going to be a big competitor, probably like centralized exchange level. I would think. But do you think that's a fair price? Going up 100 million from 4 years ago. Do you think it's cheap, fair, or expensive? Because we saw CoinMarketCap get sold for 400 million 4 years ago when everything was hot.
I think it's cheap. I do. I feel like you putting up an ad, like like if you buy this and I like I said, I go to this website 6-7 times a day minimum, right? Just because I have an idea, I want to check out this coin, or check out this, right? You can, if you add this thing up, dude, you can make hundreds of millions of dollars potentially a year from just advertisements, right, and stuff like that. So I don't, so potentially, maybe not 100 million, but like 30-40 million dollars a year, spread that over time. Maybe it takes 10 years, 20 years to get your money back.
Oh, it depends, like on the entity that acquires it, because it could be around that much. Are we going to start seeing a competitor like mascot to the Geico lizard eventually on TV? What if we have two lizards?
Coinbase gets rebranded.
Yeah,
I think it gets rebranded. I think it becomes Coinbase.
Ooh, really? You think it gets you think it gets rebranded? Is that smart though? Because everybody knows it as CoinGecko. Like from a marketing perspective, I have seen rebrands, obviously, but it's usually rebranding like whenever like a big entity acquires another entity that does the same thing as them, then they'll just merge their clientele kind of into it. But
I could see this being Coinbase Data, or or something like that. .com.
CoinGecko is now Coinbase Data.
Because think about it, like CoinGecko, it's very crypto-esque, right? But if you like CoinMarketCap, it feels like it has that professional. And I can definitely see something like that, right? CoinBaseMarketCap.com or something like that. But who knows? Who knows who buys it, right? But if I was, you know, potentially, who knows, JP Morgan or something, or one of these big banks and stuff, and you can now control what is on here. So I don't know. I don't want that to happen. But you could see someone coming in here and might see some manipulation happening. I don't know. Who knows? Trump not considering an SBF pardon. He finally said it. They asked him again. They said, would you consider a pardoning SBF? And he said, I'm not considering it. No. I do think this happens, but I think it happens either towards the midterms or potentially towards the next presidential race. I think he does. I think, you know, what his family is MIT, like, you know, the definition of that, right? Friends with Gary Gensler, the whole 9 yards. I feel like SBF does get pardoned by Trump in the next couple of years. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, they could be looked at as like enemy of the state too, from his perspective, you know. But it seems that all you gotta do is really kiss some booty, and then next thing you know, I like the guy. You know, so maybe that's the approach they take. I'm sure it is, because that's probably the smart approach, right? I don't know, man. That's definitely should be a poly market bet, and I'm sure it already is.
Yeah, I'm sure it is too. I haven't looked it up, but yeah, I would take it. I would take that by the end of the Trump administration. I think he does. I think he does.
I think that you'd probably get some good odds on that too, because right now it's early and he denied it just now. So if there is a bet out there, probably buy the yes, because it'd be cheap.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that he'll be working with WillFi. I think he'll be somewhere in there doing some type of arbitrage or something. Like I think you know.
But they'll leave his ex-girlfriend in jail, right?
She's out. She's out.
She got out. Oh my god.
Well, she ratted.
Oh yeah,
she snitched. So she's out. She got out a couple months ago, or yeah.
No ride or die.
I mean,
no ride or die.
No, dude, you can't, bro. When your life's at stake, bro, you only get one life. You gotta just tell the tale. I mean, you have to.
Well, I think it was majority. Wasn't it her that caused the problems?
He let it happen. He gave her the back door. He was the CEO. It was under his watch. So, you know. Last thing here, BNB leads in 24-hour fees, overtaking Solana. BNB seems to be something that, you know, even when, you know, things feel bearish, BNB still doing transactions on the chain. Have you been looking at their meme coins or anything over there? I haven't.
I haven't, but like I think I glanced here and there. I'll take just a quick look. I mean, there's definitely some, you know, some coins popping off, but I don't want to get my focus sucked into that right now, because I feel like you have to give like all your attention to it, or you're gonna miss something. You know, you're gonna miss that $10 million runner, that $2 million runner, and so.
Yeah, for sure. And then news from the trenches. Not really much going on. I was just taking a peek over here. Claude Dev, it seems interesting. Dev by Claude, pump fund token that kind of ran already. It looks like it's running right now. So pretty much near all-time high. That could be something. Anything you're saying?
That's a good narrative.
I like that.
Yeah, because like basically this guy could, I don't know if that's what they're doing, but like when I hear that, I think about like some guy that's live, you know, vibe coding and creating like really cool stuff or something. I don't know.
You can sit there for 12, 14 hours just vibe coding.
And not even caring what people are saying in the chat, because you're so focused on it.
100%. That could be the way to go, honestly. Shizzy vibe coding coming to a Solana near you, or a pump fund near you. No, I'm just kidding. But that's our show for you guys today. Really appreciate every single one of you guys, man. He said this is a simulation crazy. I appreciate you myself. Appreciate Rick G, Jason, Mogar, Stan, official golf, my favorite comment of the day.
I knew you were gonna love that one.
Stan again, and then the great Ryan, followed up by Courtney and Glasshopper. And just to really appreciate all you guys, man, each and every day.
Yeah, some OGs for sure. We had Sheedy the other day, and then Rick G and Courtney Johnson back in it today. So appreciate all you guys. Without you guys, I promise we would not be here. So you guys definitely motivate us, and we appreciate all the support, and we thank you guys so much. We couldn't do the show without you guys, but we also couldn't do it without our partners. So if you could check them out, we would greatly appreciate it. If you are interested in getting that banner down there, go to pyro.buzz. You can bid for that space. But Merlin Chain is uniting Bitcoin's strength through the power of AI, as they have their Wizard version 2.0 AI agent that can guide you through Merlin Chain's ecosystem, but also swap for tokens outside of the ecosystem like Solana tokens or BSC tokens as well. All you got to do is have some Merlin Chain Bitcoin in your Merlin Chain wallet, which you can use a MetaMask or a Bitcoin wallet like Unisat or Xverse. And then it can swap for those popular tokens that you are looking for in those chains, right? But you can also do stuff on Merlin Chain. Of course, it can do DeFi swaps with Merlin Swap, as well as staking. Speaking of staking, they have a proof of stake security model that secures the chain, and you can participate in 3 ways. The first way is to stake Bitcoin to earn more Bitcoin. You get paid out in Bitcoin. So really awesome product here. It is a 3-month long lockup, but the first staking vault, they got 17% APR for their stakers, and their second staking vault ended January 8th, and they're going to release all that information on that. And then their next staking vault is going to be opening up soon here. So make sure you guys are paying attention so you can see when you can get into that. But they're always going to shoot for that average between 8 and 21%. So that's how you can get involved and earn more Bitcoin by staking your Bitcoin there. Awesome product there. And then there's 2 other products, a part of the staking protocol here. And it uses the Merlin Chain token. The first one is a day-to-day staking product that you earn 15% APR. You stake your Merlin Chain token. You can claim your rewards every single day. If you want to pull your Merlin Chain token out, there's a 7-day cooldown period, so just know that. But you can do whatever you want with your tokens. You can claim them every single day. So really awesome product there. And then a 6-month lockup period called the bonded product, and it is a 45% APR lockup earnings there. It is locked up for 6 months, obviously, but the cool thing that they did was you can claim your rewards every single day, do whatever you want with those. So make sure you guys go over there, pay attention to that, look into it. If you have any questions, let us know or let the team know. You can follow them on X at Merlin Layer 2 for updates as well. We thank you for checking them out. And then our next partner is satsman.fun, which is a launch pad for meme runes on Bitcoin Layer 1. They are going to be launching the decentralized version of this. I don't know if you're sharing or not. Oh, there it is. A decentralized version of this launch pad to where anybody can launch, but they started off by kicking off the first couple Genesis tokens, and they got 7Z, which has been pretty hot and has a strong community as well. And then Land Wolf as well as that second Genesis token. But as I mentioned, they're going to open this up to the public, so anybody can launch a Bitcoin rune. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can see in our library that we have a couple educational videos that explain what Bitcoin runes are and why Bitcoin Layer 1 assets are important for the future. And you can also check out our community building educational video there as well to kind of give you guys a head start. If you're interested in launching a token on satsman.fun and building a community, you can reach out to the team and to get connected there. But yeah, it's exciting stuff. Once that token actually gets minted out and bonded, it gets sent over to RichSwap, which is their DEX, and they utilize ICP's tech stack to make this a very fast, seamless experience like Solana, so you don't have to wait for those 50-minute blocks. But they are doing everything as well on Bitcoin Layer 1, as they have a dedicated node that is dedicated to a dedicated Bitcoin node with ICP, and they utilize that. So make sure you guys go check it out. Also, one other thing on satsman.fun, you can get the short tail ticker names. You can actually get them 30 days out before they're available, because the way Casey did with runes is, certain block heights, you get shorter availability for runes tickers, which is wild the way you did it. But maybe it might work out in terms of demand, because people seem to be wanting those. So check that out. Go to satsman.fun or richswap.io. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. As always, you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out onchainrevolution.io. Some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. Crypto market update. Definitely want to check this one out, guys. Is Bitcoin rallies into CPI. ETH reclaims 3.1K. Check this article out now. So many amazing articles. Check them out here. If you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend NordVPN. Why would you want to use a VPN? Well, privacy, right? Something myself is very bullish on. You don't want to be going to these websites and stuff and just be giving away your IP address. Your IP address actually leads them to your home address. Don't do that. Get a VPN today. Choose Nord here. Just come over here, click our link, and that'll take you to our nordvpn.com link. And you guys can click this red button right here, 70% off. Do not go to nord.com without our link. You'll be paying $11.59. Use our link. You'll get it for $3.39. Lock it in for 2 years. Set it, forget it, and be done with it there. And if you guys look for a hardware wallet, we do have a Ledger link here. Click that. If you are interested, if you're going to buy one anyway, buy it through us. Just really appreciate you guys doing that. Remember, guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain revolution.